By the ways, totally forgot about the face cam being off. It's going to be back on at some point in the video, but you guys will get the vibes. Hey guys, what's going on? Inception here, and welcome to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, today we have the Thunderstruck promo to take a look at. Guys, honestly, there's going to be a lot of things to take a look at when it comes to this promo. A lot of different cards coming to the market, a lot of different cards coming to SBCs. It's probably looking to be the best promo we've received so far this year, to be honest with you, with the types of cards that we could potentially be getting, and with the content that could be coming our way, because honestly the content has been pretty dry, I would say, for the last 2.5 weeks for the most part, right? Like, they've been releasing like pretty mid cards, SBCs that people aren't really going to use if they actually play division rivals, that sort of thing, right? So yeah, we're going to be taking a look at the full list of players that can be coming out, as well as the icons, some of the SBCs, how these cards can upgrade, all that kind of stuff, right? So the first one we have here is going to be from Katoto. Let's see what she looks like. I get her sometimes as like a regular pull because of the fodder and stuff, right? But 88 rated Katoto, power header, finesse shots, press proven, Trivella, aerial. She's 5'10", lean body type. Okay, so this card, like on a Hawk chemistry style in the future with the upgrades, could be an interesting card. Thing with her is that her balance is really low, but she is 5'10" lean body type. So that'd be kind of like similar to the male players, because usually with the women, they're usually shorter. They have a short and lean minus body type or a lean body type. With a lean, I still feel like with this card, you'd probably have to provide her with an engine, which would be fine because base card stats being improved in multiple areas would make her way more usable to work with. So it's actually pretty decent coming to the market, especially for the league links, PSG links, that sort of thing. Vinicius Jr., definitely going to be a very solid option to work with. I like Vinicius Jr. this year. This card is like 50-50 for people this year, which is very strange to me because I thought he cooked for me when I tried him out. I haven't used him for a while, but obviously he was very nice because his card's high work rated, right? So because he's high work rated, using a card like this in the side positions, even if you're playing like a 4-2-3-1 or 4-3-3, whatever, it's really nice to work with that work rate. It's very nice. I prefer that over the high medium and stuff when it's in those side areas. It's a very consistent thing to have. But yeah, playstyles wise, he has quick step, finesse shot, chip shot, rapid flare, first touch, Trivella. So obviously fantastic traits. He's just like a really well formatted card for the most part, you know, really nice for the Hawk chemistry style because of the shot power boost. In the future, what's really interesting about this card is that he could actually be a monster because the future upgrade is actually formatted for the sniper chemistry style. Because if you take a look at how the card is as of right now, his physical stats will be higher, his shooting will be significantly higher, and then his finishing base card stats will be higher, base card stats for dribbling will be higher. Like, it'll be really well formatted for that, depending on how they obviously improve him, because his base card stats for pace is already in a really good area. Gabriel Jesus is definitely going to be nice for the people that are building the Arsenal squads. Gonna be honest with you guys, when it's Gabriel Jesus's card, I always like to use him mainly in the side positions over the striker area. But again, it depends on how you format your team as well. With this card, probably a card you give 100 chemistry style to, even in the future, because even if they were to give him like a +5 for acceleration and sprint speed, I think the shooting boost would definitely want that. You could also provide him with like a Hawk chemistry style as well, depending on how they improve the finishing, because I always tell you guys finishing needs to be at like at least a 95 area for that to be a really nice thing to have. Playstyles, he has technical flair, first touch, and relentless. A weak foot improvement would definitely be a really nice thing to have, because 3-star weak foot can get a little bit annoying unless you have like a finesse shot trait like Antoine Griezmann, who still takes really weird strikes with his right foot. But yeah, definitely nice for the Arsenal links on that one. Quadrado is always a pretty cool card to get in the beginning, depending on how you line him up, because he has like good position changes and stuff, right? So Quadrado's new card would have the defensive stats, his shooting would be a little bit higher, right? With a card like this, I could potentially see people giving him like a gladiator if they decide to use him as like a center mid, who's just going to be your more agile player, attacking oriented center mid that can push forward, especially with the high low work rates, 5-star weak foot. Huge possibility there, right? But then there's also the possibility of people just actually using him in the defensive positions on either a shadow, depending on how they improve the pace, or on an anchor because of his physical being on the lower side to kind of help out with the fact that he's a lean body type player. Whipped pass, technical flair, first touch. These are all really nice play styles to have if you're playing him in like a right mid position, a 3-back, stuff like that, you know. Diani, definitely a very good card coming in. Diani was a card a lot of people used in the beginning of the year, even right now, to be fair, because her rare gold card provides you some pretty decent links to work with, especially the French Leon link for the most obvious SBC that was released at some point this year, like a week ago or so, or I don't know if she's still available, actually. I don't think she is, but it's the Bacha card, who's probably still going to get her upgrades. It's a nice little easy link to her for a card that's actually going to perform pretty decently in game. I still rate Mendy's card over Bacha, but Bacha, like, it's hard to say I rate Mendy over Bacha because they're two completely different types of players. Like, Bacha is going to offer you way more on the attack than Mendy ever will because of that whipped pass, the whipped pass or cross or whatever it's called. And then Mendy's obviously way better defensively, right? But he still has attacking elements. That's the thing too, right? So it just depends on what you want the most. But obviously, I think physical is always going to be the go-to for most people. Neymar is very good this year. Yeah, he's very, very good. This card is going to be interesting because of the SBC that we're going to be talking about as well. But with Neymar's card being currently at 133k, it's really nice value for a card that has Trickster Plus, which is super fun to work with, right? On a Hunter chemistry style, Neymar can genuinely play anywhere, right? He's 133k market value wise because obviously he's a little bit harder to link. You would have to use the Saudi League players. Some of them get a little bit outdated, but as time progresses, obviously there could be more cards to link him up with, right? Like, obviously one of the main ones could be someone like Karim Benzema's card if he did the initial Jota card from Evolutions. There's a new Saint Max SBC coming out that we're gonna be looking into. So those are all easier ways to link cards that are meta to link with him, which is very nice because with Jota I can play him in the side position, Neymar can play him cam, and then so on and so forth, right? So it's definitely very cool for that card to be coming out. Obviously has really, really good play styles, right? He's got first touch, quick step, Trivela, so on and so forth. So some very, very good stuff. Emre Can, the Bundesliga players hasn't really been hitting for a lot of people, to be honest with you. I haven't really seen people use them too much. Every time I play the game, I never really see the Bundesliga at all, to be honest with you. But with Emre Can, oh, he could definitely be very good. I think it depends on how they improve his physical, to be honest with you. Because with this card on a shadow, if his dribbling is not really messed with too much, but his physical is higher and you can make him a lengthy player, as he is right now, but obviously his acceleration will be significantly higher, it's a pretty decent CDM, to be honest with you. Like, it looks really nice, especially if he has the right playstyles. He has great playstyles, man. Intercept, bruiser, slide tackle. I mean, it's great, but people don't really slide tackle that much, and it's very situational. But intercept is good. Bruiser is definitely nice. No anticipate, but it's still a very, very nice card with the right playstyles, especially if he can get another one in the future. Bernardo Silva, obviously a favorite on my end because of the Portuguese players, right? Bernardo Silva has like one of the best technicals in the game, right? Especially since his left stick is actually very nice, but obviously has reached a certain point where he requires an upgrade, right? A card like this in the cam position, I would say with at the very least a 4-star weak foot would definitely be very nice for consistency across the pitch, because with Bernardo Silva, excuse me, he also has defensive stats, right? So that with a high work rate opens up for options for you to use him as like a center mid. There we go, face cam's back on. But yeah, you definitely have the options to use him as a center mid, to use him in the attacking areas as well. So a lot of really cool stuff to work with there, because I could see the base card stats for defense also being improved, and you having the potential of actually giving him a shadow chemistry style, because look at how the card is formatted as of right now without the improvements. Imagine with the improvements and with the potential upgrades that he can get, it's definitely looking very saucy, especially with that technical plus, which is a pretty big meta way of playing this game right now. Alphonso Davies is the next one. Alphonso Davies, people didn't really use this card too much in the beginning, like I said, because the Bundesliga cards, they don't really last too long in comparison to some of the other cards. Like, you could still see like a rare gold Diaby in some of people's teams because obviously he's still very good to work with. With Davies, a lot of potential there as well, I would say, especially for a card that you probably wouldn't have to give an anchor to in the future. Like you'd probably give him like a guardian to improve the dribbling and the defending if you use him a certain way. And then the other way is obviously going to be the gladiator, which is obviously the defensive and shooting boost if you just decide to use them in that way as well. And then the third way would be with the Sentinel. Where's Sentinel? This one, Sentinel, right? So you give him that physical boost, you give him the defensive boost, base card stats for pace would be higher already. It'd be a high-low Rick rated card that has good dribbling stats, nice little Bayern Munich links, and obviously has quick step and rapid. So if you have him on that overlap instruction, he'd be pretty saucy in that area, especially with base card stats for pace being improved. Klosterman, listen, if Klosterman is anything like previous years, this card is going to be very good. Klosterman has like that hunchback body type, right? He has a high in average, but in game he looks like he has a hunchback body type. Like I always used to tell people before that he just feels like the type of card that basically just looks like he's the only person that, like, not the only person, like one of few that looks like he has a different body type compared to what they actually say, right? So but yeah, there's a lot of potential with this card. Obviously, the main thing here is obviously going to be improved physical stats, but then the other thing is being able to give him an anchor with higher base card stats for pace while working with better physical capabilities, because his physical side is on the lower side. And I feel like they probably did that on purpose just to not make him too crazy. I think this is like changed, because I think he used to be a medium high too, but he's low medium now. So a couple of differences here and there. Varane's card, I mean, not really much to say there. Gonna be honest with you guys, if you still use this Varane card right now and you don't have the icons, you don't have any of those cards, if this Varane card was an SBC for 50k, I would have told you guys to do it. You know what I'm saying? 11.5k for this card on the market, dude, you couldn't care less about the 78 physical on this card, because he just has like the unique animations, right? His unique body type is medium high work rates, a 6'3" height with the crazy play style of Anticipate Plus. Like Anticipate Plus is wild, okay? He's just like one of those like rare occurrences, right? He even has the 4-star weak foot too, so it's like, you know, especially on the Shadow Chemistry style, making him a lengthy player. This card just does a lot of very good stuff defensively. Like he's still using a lot of my teams, especially for the links that I require with a lot of players. So definitely some very good stuff there. Lukaku is a player that I don't see a lot of people using. I mean, he's a physical type striker, but he's like too physical sometimes. With the improvements, I could see him being a pretty decent physical type striker. It just depends on the improvements of the card, because he's really, really poorly formatted for meta in FIFA, right? Because of the acceleration being lower, the dribbling being lower. Has to be an anchor. He has to be a lengthy player on an engine chemistry style. I think that's going to be super, super necessary, but I don't see anything like too crazy special with this card in the future. But hey, maybe they surprise me, right? Maybe they surprise me. De Jong, who is apparently going to be an SBC, is most likely, if priced very nicely, going to be a card that I tell you guys that you probably should do. I'm going to tell you guys why, okay? In some formations, when you use a card like this in your team, it's really nice to have a player like this that helps you out. Honestly, like I know people that regardless of his work rates at a high medium, I know people that still use him as like a lone CDM, to be honest with you. On a Shadow Chemistry style, boosting the pace, boosting the defense to be as good as possible. But their main focus is for them to have a card to help them out on the attack, which he's going to do for you, right? Because dribbling's in a decent area to work with his unique body type. He's got great passing capabilities. So De Jong is a pretty saucy card to work with for the most part, right? And I feel like it might be a very similar situation, even if the SBC comes out, because one, the card is actually decent to use in game and obviously provides you very good links to work with too. Joelinton, to be fair, I could see some people actually doing Joelinton's card, or not doing, I don't know if he's an SBC or not, but with Joelinton, this is like a textbook stay back while attacking cover center type player that maybe could attack from time to time because of the higher attacking positioning. It's pretty much how I used him for the most part for the team of the season last year, right? Like if I ever got my hands on him, it'd basically be on a Shadow Chemistry style, boost the pace, boost the defense. He's on stay back while attacking cover center in like a 4-3-2-1, and then you would basically just go from there. The Shadow Chemistry style would boost the pace, boost the defense to be in a good area. Play style, I mean, it'd be weird if he didn't have Bruiser, to be honest with you. So some good stuff there. Kieran Tierney, I mean, it's an interesting card, but it depends on how they improve his pace, because pace, especially in that fullback area, is very important to have, right? You definitely need more pace to work with in that area, especially on a shadow chemistry style, boosting the acceleration, sprint speed, and defense of the card. High work rates, the 5'10" height, left-footed. This drastically needs to be improved, right? For a card that has jockey, rapid, and long throw, so a couple of interesting variables to work with there too. Bremer could definitely be a very interesting card too, because I think he has Bruiser Plus, maybe. Let me see. He doesn't have Bruiser Plus. I think it was Thiago Silva during that time period that had Bruiser Plus. But yeah, so he has Bruiser. He's got block, power header, aerial as well. On a shadow, you're going to have higher pace, higher defensive stats, good physical. To be honest with you, some people who have started off in this game, depending on the league links that they need, the team links that they need, all that stuff, he's still pretty good on a shadow because he has all of the right play styles to be pretty decent, right? He's got bruiser and block, which, to be fair, actually helps out a lot in the defensive areas. Ansu Fati getting his own card. Gonna be honest with you guys, with Ansu Fati's card, it's interesting because is he gonna surpass the Evolutions card? Probably not. I mean, it depends, I guess, right? Like, this Evolutions card is genuinely still used in people's teams nowadays. Like, this is one of those evolution cards where you will still see him depending on the league links that they need in their team, because obviously Brighton in Spanish, it's a little bit harder to work with. Not super hard, but it's a little bit hard, right? But a lot of people are usually using like Premier League teams, so it's not super hard to link him, especially with the different position changes that the card has, right? With Ansu Fati in game, he's pretty well formatted for the most part and performs really well. With the improvements in the future, could definitely be an interesting card to take a look at as well. Romero is one of the confirmed SBC cards as well. We'll be taking a look at the SBC cards a little bit after. But Romero definitely needs a pace upgrade. That's going to be like the main thing on the card that needs to be upgraded, because for everything else, he's actually very, very well formatted, right? Because this card on a shadow chemistry style is going to be a mostly lengthy player. Defensive stats will be significantly improved, but you also have to take into consideration that his physical stats is already in a pretty good spot, right? So defensively, he should be very good in game, right? If he has the right playstyles, so he has intercept, slide tackle, bruiser. So bruiser is the main one, and intercept a little bit as well. But a new playstyle would definitely make a very good difference for this card, especially if they end up giving him like a regular anticipate, honestly, for the most part, would be really, really nice. But yeah, probably gonna be doing that to review on Guillau's account because he does the Premier League players. We do 50-50, right? Sometimes I do the card, sometimes he does. Like Sun, player of the month Sun, player of the month Salah, I had to do because it was like super early in the morning. But a card like Romero, Spurs player, like he might just do it right away because that's his shtick, you know. This guy we're not really going to look into. Little is going to be for the Arsenal fans. 62 defense though. She's kind of formatted strangely. Gomez as a defensive player, so he could be pretty decent. Let's see. Joe Gomez definitely needed a new card, that's for sure. That's without a shadow of a doubt. He is anchor shadow. Yeah, definitely need a shadow. Okay, let's see what else we got here. We have the hemp card, left wing. 76 for shooting is kind of low. Can you give her a Deadeye? Can you give her a Deadeye? Oh, you can. Maybe not a Deadeye. Finisher? No, finisher. You could also give her a finisher. It's most likely going to be a Deadeye, though. I think this card's actually not bad. She's not bad. High work rate, short and lean minus. 5'5" on the attack. Base card stats for pace would be improved. Yeah, she could be decent. That's not too bad. These cards I'm not crazy about. Fakir, I don't think he'll ever be like that SBC once got, to be honest. I don't think it'll ever happen again. Nah, I don't think so. Because I don't know, I guess there's like a few variables that's just never gonna make him that way again. Like Fakir was genuinely, during that time period for that SBC, like the Europa League card, he was like the only like usable cam, honestly. I'm not even joking when I say that. Like in the cam position, this guy just moved a certain way. He was great. Obviously the improvements would be great. Base card stats for dribbling would be higher, but I just don't think they're going to improve it as much as they probably can. If he gets all the full upgrades, it would definitely be really cool for him, though. That's for sure. Frimpong. Frimpong's definitely a decent choice as well, just for those link ups. He has the Inform card. Some people use this card. It just depends on how their team is formatted for the most part. You can still see he's 95.5k because of the links to work with. But Frimpong has a couple of decent variables to work with. He's mostly just a fast player, but obviously if you use the overlap instruction for your fullbacks, he definitely looks very nice for that. Umtiti with 62 pace. I mean, one of those ones. Loftus-Cheek apparently is going to be a gameplay objective, so hopefully they make him like usable enough. I think that's going to be like the key thing here, because I'm not sure if they actually would do that to the card on that shadow chemistry style with a mostly lengthy. I don't know if they'll make him a decent card. That's a rough one. That's a rough one. We'll see. We'll see what they do with the upgrades on that one. Depay, who was one of people's evolution cards. Depay could be decent. Depends on how they improve him, because if we're going to be taking a look at just the evolutions version of the card, it's an 87 rated. So if you're going from a Thunderstruck promo and then you're going to the upgrades and it's similar to this, then he still needs like another 2 upgrades on top of that because of base card stats for dribbling, in my opinion, right? So definitely have to look into that. And then the last one's going to be Thierry Correa. I'm Portuguese and I'm like mispronouncing it, you know. Yeah, so Correa's card, Thierry Correa. What's his middle name? Rendal. Okay. I mean, is he any better than Cancelo? Hard to say. Probably going to be an anchor chemistry style on this guy. Base card stats for dribbling, hopefully in the 80s area, while being 5'9" high medium. Could be okay. Could be okay. That's like the transfer market cards. Now we're going to be moving on into some of the World Cup cards. A couple of World Cup cards to look into that'll definitely be very nice. Again, we will be looking into what could potentially be like the SBCs and all that kind of stuff, right? So we have the first one, which is going to be Ronaldinho's card. As you guys all know, we all used Ronaldinho's loan card in the beginning of the year, and this card is genuinely a top tier, S-star tier attacker in this game. He's absolutely fantastic. A lot of times when they used to make Ronaldinho cards before, they weren't really as saucy, but this year he is. Like, he's genuinely insane to work with, can genuinely play in any of the attacking positions. It actually does not matter. This card is just gonna absolutely cook for you. So, I mean, he's got crazy play styles, definitely very well formatted, a lot of good stuff to work with there. We have Muller, who is the next one. To be fair, guys, people pack Muller and they don't use this card. I don't really know what he's like. I haven't really faced him too often. Like, again, people have to pack him for you to really face him on a consistent basis. But I guess the main thing on this card is how weirdly formatted his dribbling is, as well as his pace, right? Because with a card like this, it makes you feel like you want the pace improvement. But obviously, if you play to his play style on an engine, he could still be decent. I'm not really sure what this card is like in game because I haven't really used it myself, but he is very strangely formatted. So I'm very curious to see how they improve that card with the future upgrades as well, right? Johan Cruyff. I haven't tried out Cruyff this year. Last year, he was like a very 50-50 card for people. I personally liked him up until a point. There was a lot of cards being released that were significantly better at that point. So that's why people start to compare one card to another. And they're like, oh, you know, it's not as good as some of these new cards coming out and stuff, right? But with Cruyff, on a 5-star, obviously a lot of really good stuff to work with. He's a lean wide type player for this year's game. He has all the right play styles as well. You know, even Flair Plus, which this one's not really like that crazy. I mean, you could do that mostly for fun, but you know, actually, to be fair, if you do like an L trigger shot or an L2 shot and it's more accurate than your regular strikes, that would be a weird variable, but he has a plus version of it. So you guys know how this game works, right? It could definitely be really weird on that. Thierry Henry is an interesting one because if you guys have just the regular icon version, this is, I even mentioned to you guys in the review, this is the best version of Thierry Henry we've ever had in any FIFA whatsoever. This card was usually pretty horrible every single year. I'm going to be honest with you. It was pretty horrible every single year. I always mentioned how he should at least, you know, feel somewhat similar to like an Mbappe level, stuff like that, you know. But this card is not Mbappe level, but he's fantastic in game. Like, he's absolutely ridiculous. This year, it's because of the playstyles. The playstyles for this year's game makes a really, really huge difference, especially since he has Quick Step with the Rapid Plus, First Touch, Trivela. This card honestly will last you a very long time in this game. Like, you don't really care about his dribbling. One of the physical, quote-unquote physical type strikers that is genuinely very good in game. Eric Cantona, does he still have like the skill moves and stuff this year? I haven't really seen. I didn't pack him in the icon stuff. But Cantona, 1 million coins right now. Physical type player, could be different in this year's game compared to others. Like in other years, I feel like he was a little bit too physical. But after using Thierry Henry, anything can happen, right? Like, a lot of these cards can be significantly better than what they look like. But obviously with the 5-star skills that he's working with, chip shot, power shot. He doesn't have any of the crazy shooting ones. Power shot and chip shot's like okay, but I'm not really like a power shot guy personally. But he does have a couple of like decent stuff to actually play in the center forward role specifically. Like, if I'm playing a 4-3-3 false 9, it could definitely be very nice for him. Kaká, I haven't seen Kaká one time this year yet. I've not seen this card once. He's an 89 rated player. Dribbling stats a little bit strangely formatted. I think with Kaká, you always give him a finisher. Does he have like technical plus or something? He doesn't have technical, but he has rapid, finesse shot, incisive pass, and quick step. Cam position as well. Yeah, that could definitely be nice. The improvements is going to be a really big difference for sure for a card like that. We got Puskás, who is the next one. Let's take a look at the Puskás card. Yeah, so this card, I mean, to be fair, very well formatted. He's 5'8". He doesn't have the weak foot, but I feel like in previous years, his dribbling, it had a physical element to it, obviously, because of the stocky body type. But for this year's game, it kind of works a little bit differently in the left stick dribble, so it might not be as bad to work with, I would say. Especially, excuse me, in the future with a engine chemistry style, I think yet again, because the engine would actually improve base card stats for pace, dribbling, as well as passing, and then his base card stats for shooting would be significantly higher with some pretty good play styles to work with too, right? First touch plus, which is cool, but it's mainly the shooting ones I would definitely be more interested in, like Trivela, maybe a finesse shot, but that's not there yet. But, you know, could still get it, right? Because that's the whole point of this promo. Yeah, so Kenny Dalglish. Listen, Kenny Dalglish's regular card this year is really good. I actually like this card a lot. Yeah, this card is actually very, very solid. Very, very good striker. Definitely formatted correctly. That's why I go into the depths of like Thierry Henry and stuff, right? Because this card in game genuinely performs really, really well. You can kind of go any direction with him, really. Whether that's like a hawk or a hunter, an engine. It's really going to be down to the person, I would say. But regardless, you are working with a very good card. 5-star weak foot in FIFA nowadays. Very, very huge variable to work with when it comes to finishing. And he has that, right? So Xabi Alonso. I wish they made a Xabi Alonso card that had a medium-high work rate. I'm going to be honest. Because his playstyle, IRL, I guess you can somewhat say was a high, but for the meta of FIFA, that playstyle would be kind of sick on a medium-high, you know? Because a card like this, being a card that is probably going to be very nice defensively, especially on that mostly lengthy part on the card, it just kind of seems like it's formatted for that medium-high sort of playstyle, right? Especially with base card stats for physical being improved in the future and potential upgrades. I mean, you know, but on a high, he still looks like a decent card to use. Obviously, the Team of the Year card that people used for a long period last time was pretty cool to get. Not like a top tier meta card, but it was still pretty cool. Like, I still used them for a very fair amount of time, especially if I needed certain links in my squad, because the whole point of playing a game like EAFC is to actually use different teams, but, you know, people just use one because rats. But, you know, Robert Pires definitely needs an upgrade, I would say. He needs an upgrade for him to be really nice, because if you were to pack this card is usable, but, like, I'm not using him over a lot of the cheaper attacking options. A very huge variable with him is obviously Finesse Shot Plus, right? That's the big kicker. So if he still has Finesse Shot Plus on the new version, maybe he gets like a regular playstyle, like a Trivela or something, it'd be kind of saucy, right? Especially in the future. I mean, maybe you could still give him an engine. You would just work with a shot power being lower. But if he has Trivela with a lower shot power, it is a very huge variable to work with as well. You could maybe give him like a finisher too, depending on how they improve the pace of the card. a couple of interesting variables, right? I would say like maybe even like a Hunter or a Hawk, because the Hawk actually messes with the shot power a little bit more, with base card stats or pace being higher, more consistency for your strikes wouldn't necessarily be bad either. Nesta needs an upgrade as well because his pace is really bad. If this is going to be a promo card, they have to make his pace way better for a card that is genuinely one of the best center backs I've probably ever watched. His defensive capabilities in game should be very good. Playstyle, he has slide tackle plus, he's got anticipate, acrobatic, aerial. So I mean, he has at least the regular anticipate. Slide tackle plus, I'm like whatever about, to be honest. Like hopefully like a bruiser in the future would definitely be added. I think that would definitely add to the card for sure. Cafu, I never used Cafu's card last year, eh? Or maybe I did. Maybe on like some person's account, like randomly, but I don't remember what he was like. I never used him. Like not to memory. Maybe I did, but not to memory. I just don't remember, honestly. But Shadow Chemistry Style on Cafu is going to give him that massive improvement in the pace department as well as defense. And then physical stats is on the lower side. But a card like this potentially pushing forward on the attack is probably going to be the nice variable to work with because of dribbling stats being above the 80s area and then the other dribbling stats being in the 90s area too. So obviously some really cool stuff there. Sol Campbell could definitely be an interesting one for sure, because honestly his base card right now, it's not horribly formatted by any means. Obviously his base dribbling on the ball is horrendous, but on a Shadow Chemistry Style, he does have the right physical stats, defensive stats is there, pace stats is there, higher pace to kind of compensate for dribbling stats being lower with a low medium work rate. Honestly, if you're building like some sort of like Arsenal past and present squad, it could be really cool. He doesn't have anticipate, but he does have bruiser and block, right? So a lot of very good play styles to work with. He even has power header aerial while working with 86 for jumping. So maybe if that's improved in the future, could definitely be very nice. Van der Sar is the next one, which is most of the times in FIFA probably the most meta option to work with when it comes to goalkeepers. Like some people actually packed this Van der Sar card, or not Van der Sar, I think they got like Czech, who might not be as good as Van der Sar, let's be honest, but yeah, obviously a new version of his card could definitely be a really cool variable to work with, but Van der Sar is with Ajax, so we'll see how they end up performing. I think Ballack is actually an SBC. Ballack could be cool if he's medium high. That's going to be the key thing here. Okay, cool. Because I don't mind agility and balance being on the lower side, as long as you are a lengthy player on a Shadow Chemistry Style and you're a CDM with the right play styles, then it's a cool card, right? So play styles in game, he has Power Shot Plus, which I mean, if you pop them, be my guest, you know, power header, anticipate or intercept, and aerial as well on a Shadow Chemistry Style could still be pretty decent to work with for sure. Obviously in the future, if he gets like an anticipate, that would definitely be a really huge variable on a normal play style for sure. Skulls needs a drastic improvement. That's a really big one because the regular Skulls card is not it whatsoever. Obviously, he's one of those fodder cards that exists that gives you a bad player if you open some sort of like icon SBC. However, there is potential if he does get the right improvements, because to be fair, if you give him a Shadow Chemistry Style and they massively, okay, keyword massively improve a lot of areas of him, you could potentially use him as the attacking oriented center mid, right? Casillas, who is going to be a goalkeeper, obviously, FC Porto legend. This card probably not going to be like the meta option, but it's Casillas. You know the vibes there with Casillas. He has far throw, footwork, as well as cross claimer. So let's see what else we have here. Okay, so some of these are the OBJ players. Some of these are the SBC players that we'll be taking a look at. So obviously, we have the promo re-releases that are being released into the game. So I don't think there's going to be I think it's like Trailblazers, Centurions, and then it was something else as well, right? That's going to be released into the game again. So we have Saint Max as an SBC. I think this is probably going to be a really big SBC for a lot of people. Main reason for this is obviously going to be for the link ups with a lot of players in the future, right? Because one, he's French, and two, he's from the Saudi League, right? So those two variables alone is going to be massive with a card that has 5-star skills. I think the key thing here is going to be seeing what his dribbling is going to be like in game, because he does look like he's formatted for the Hunter Chemistry Style even in the future, but the finishing on this card is also very low. So I don't know how much they're going to improve that, because if I have to give him a finisher to make it significantly higher with base card stats being at least at a 95 area, I think that'd be very important. But I think what's more important is base card stats improving with potential upgrades if the team performs well enough IRL, right? We have Balak, so new evolutions as well. So we'll be pretty busy when it comes to content and talking about all of the different things that'll be released into the game and all that good stuff, right? So that's going to be for the SBC cards. Again, these are like all of the players that could be releasing as the icons. And then we have the potential way of how your cards can be improved, excuse me. So we have the campaign upgrade, and then you could see that the way that they're based off of for their upgrades is going to be based off of their clubs that they used to play for certain teams, right? So obviously when you open the game and you search the individual cards, they will tell you from the description which teams they will be getting upgrades or no upgrades from, basically. So with Ronaldinho, an example will be like this: win 1 game in Barcelona's next 4 domestic league matches. Obviously, if it's Barcelona, they most likely will get that. But if they win 3 games in the next 4 domestic league matches, then they get that +1 inform upgrade and new playstyle plus for regular on the first upgrade. So just the regular playstyle would be a huge variable, because with attackers, like, they could give them anything and it'd be nice, right? Like a Trivela, a quick step, a rapid, any of those types of things would be a huge plus on the card, right? So, but playstyle regular, they have like an image here that I think that's usually for the playstyle plus, but you guys get the vibes. But yeah, that's pretty much it in regards to how the promo is looking so far. Honestly, it's looking pretty interesting for the most part. Definitely a lot of really cool cards coming out. It should be the best promo we've received so far this year. I will say in advance, guys, that on the Saturday, if I can't do all the content right off the bat, it's because I do have a family thing IRL, okay? So hopefully you guys enjoy this video today. I'll catch you guys for the next one. Peace out, dudes. There should be another formation video today that we're gonna be posting, so yeah.